Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our group consists of Nik Nur Ain Syafiqa binti Ghazali, me, Nur Fathiatul Husna binti Marzuki, and Siti Sara binti Zahari will explain about partnership contract in Islamic finance, which is Musharakah. Musharakah is an Arabic word taken from the original word sharaka, which means consensus. Another partnership contract in Islamic finance is mudarabah. Literally, this contract refers to a cooperation and revenue sharing agreement between two or more parties for a particular business by means of each party contributing or combining capital, funds or amount, which is property, with an agreement that the rights, obligations, risks and benefits are accountable together by the ratio of the revenue decided according to the amount of capital and respective rules. Even though the definition from different scholars regarding the word syuraka is not taken into account because the main point is referring to the concept of profit loss sharing in the partnership contract. So the derivative of musharakah taken from Quran and Hadith, and according to the majority of scholars in general, syuraka is necessary in Islam, whether in commerce, entrepreneurship or property management. People on the condition that they adhere to the general condition of the collaboration prescribed by Al-Quran and Sunnah. However, they differ in terms of division and type. So, this is we can see the types of syirkah in Musharakah. Al-Musharakah or syirkah is separated into two primary sections. The first is syirkah al-amlak, which is combination of property and ownership due to certain factors without the need of syirkah contract. Next is a syirkah al-uqud, which is syirkah that occurs due to the will between the two parties by making arrangement and agreements between two or more parties in effort that is able to profit from the capital issued by the party share. To be more specific, syirkah al-uqud is a partnership agreement between two or more people to manage property and risk with earnings and losses shared equally. Al-Musharakah or syirkah is separated into two primary sections. The first is syirkah al-amlak, which is combination of property and ownership due to certain factors without the need of syirkah contract. Next is a syirkah al-uqud, which is syirkah that occurs due to the will between the two parties by making arrangement and agreements between two or more parties in effort that is able to profit from the capital issued by the party share. To be more specific, syirkah al-uqud is a partnership agreement between two or more people to manage property and risk with earnings and losses shared equally. In this type of syarikah of amwal, all partners contribute capital into the businesses. It consists of two types, which is first, syarikah al-inan or general partnership. Syarikah al-inan is a partnership between two or more parties whereby each partner contributes a specific amount of money in a manner that gives each one of right to deal in the assets of the partnership on condition that the profit is distributed according to the partnership agreement and the losses are borne in accordance with the contribution of each partner to the capital. Equality is not required in profit sharing, capital contribution or work. The possibility of this form of partnership enjoys consensus among all Islamic jurists. It seems to be nearer to the modern concept of a business partnership. The second one is syarikah al-mufawadah. This is equal partnership. Mufawadah literally means musawah, which is equality. Syarikah al-mufawadah is a form of partnership in which the contributed capital, work, mutual responsibility, and debt liability are equally shared by each partner. Syirkah al-amal is a cooperation contract between two people of the same profession to accept work together and share the benefits of that work. For example, the collaboration of two architects to work on a project or collaboration, two tailors to receive an order for the manufacture of an office uniform. This musharakah is sometimes called syirkah al-abdan or sana'i. Syirkah al-wujuh is an agreement between two or more people who have a good reputation and a business specialist. They buy things from a company or credit and then sell them for cash. They split profits and losses based on each party's promises to suppliers. In summary, they taking goods is not using capital but taking debt, and profits will be distributed later if the goods are sold. Last but not least, Syirkah al-Mudarabah is a form of partnership between a capital and owner with someone with trading skills, in which capital's trading earnings are split according to mutual agreement. Syirkah al-Mudarabah is a business partnership between two or more parties in which one party is the Sahibul Mal, who provide 100% of the funds for business purposes. On the other hand, the other party is known as the Mudarib, who does not contribute capital and is only the manager of the business being carried out.
For basic rules and conditions of Syarikah al-Aqad, according to Usmani 2002, there are three basic conditions of Syarikah al-Aqad. These conditions are commonly used by the most of contracts. The first condition is the existence of the partners or muta'akkidin, and there are two parties involved, the customer and the financier, or in the Islamic finance, it will be the bank. The second condition is commodity presence, in example, the price and the commodity. And the last condition is partner capabilities. Muta'akkidin or the partners must be a same person, mature and able to enter into the contract. These are the common rules for Syarikah al-Aqad. There are three other rules set by the scholars, and Usmani 2002 call it as special conditions. The first condition is the commodity must be affordable by an agency. The object in the contract must not be a free item that is accessible for all. For example, woods are easily accessible, thus woods cannot be as an object in the contract. The second condition is the rate of profit sharing should be clearly stated and determined to avoid the element of uncertainty or gharar. To prevent the contract from being void or fasid, then the ratio must be determined beforehand. Moreover, the profit sharing should be determined in the percentage of profit rather than a percentage of capital or amounts of money. The third condition is profits and losses should be equally divided. The contract may fall invalid if only one party bears the losses. Moreover, the profit sharing can be divided without considering the contributed capital and must be agreed upon by both parties. Those conditions are agreed by the scholars. Thus, in order to join the contract, both parties must follow the guidelines as well as conditions to avoid uncertainty. Next is the application of Musharakah in Islamic finance. The most application under Musharakah is Musharakah Mutanakisah, or also known as domination partnership. Based on this contract, two partners, a customer and financial or the bank, participate in joint ownership of either property or equipment, or in a joint commercial enterprise. One of the partners promises to buy the partner's share of ownership gradually until he or she fully owns the object of ownership. The Musharakah Mutanakisah itself involves about 5 other contracts, which are Musharakah, partnership, wa'ad, promises, ijarah, leasing, al-bay', buying and selling, and as well as hibah, which is gift. The flow of Musharakah Mutanakisah begins with the customer selecting and identifying the hope he wants to buy. Thus, he goes to the bank, financing, and brings along the quotation price of the house from the seller. As the customer wants to own the property, then the customer and the bank will enter into Musharakah Mutanakisah agreement. The customer needs to pay 10% of the price as a deposit or initial down payment. Then the bank will contribute to the agreement by paying 90% of the price. The bank then leases the acquired property subsequently to the customer. The customer owns the property ownership gradually as he pays the lease rental, and the agreement will terminate as the customer owns 100% of the property and when the title transferred to the customer. The next slide shows the flow of the process that I have explained in the previous slide. Move on to the next presenter.
are several Sharia issues in the application of Musharakah. Firstly, the execution of Musharakah Mutanakisah contract with involved Musharakah and Ijarah contracts might not be separated. In addressing this issue, the SAAD-BNM in its 56th meeting states that combining Musharakah and Ijarah in the same legal document is permissible as long as it is apparent that both are carried out separately. Although the two contracts might be integrated into one document, it is vital to create the Musharakah Mutanakisah legal document to ensure that the separation between them is made apparent. Next, the issue of whether a pledge may be imposed by one of the owners of the asset over the jointly owned asset. According to SAAD-BNM, a Musharakah Mutanakisah pledge may be imposed provided that pledge contract only covers the customer's shares getting pledged to the Islamic financial institution. Besides, with the approval of the other partner, a partner may offer and receive a promise of the Musharakah asset. Thirdly, the issue of the application of SAAD as the mechanism in dealing with customers' default in financing based on Musharakah Mutanakisah. Islamic bank institutions are exposed to risk, including market risk and credit risk. Therefore, the SAAD-BNM has determined that the customer SAAD clause for purchasing the Musharakah asset should be incorporated in the Musharakah Mutanakisah agreement to deal with the customer's default. The last issue is about the uncertainty about the legality of the profit distribution method, in which the profit is calculated and distributed based on gross profit, not based on net profit. Gross profit is being chosen to protect the client interest. On the other hand, the SAAD-BNM has come out with a resolution stating that either gross profit or net profit can be used in profit distribution, as parties in Musharakah are permitted to choose one of the two methods. There are several conditions that make the Musharakah contract come to an end. Firstly, Musharakah can be terminated when the obligation of a partnership are fulfilled or when the contract's duration is expired. However, this contract can be continued when the partners mutually agree to continue the collaboration. Secondly, the Musharakah contract comes to an end when one of the partners die. The heirs will have the choice of taking the deceased portion of the business or continuing with the Musharakah contract. This contract is also dissolved when the heirs of the partner are in capacity to continue the partnership. Thirdly, Musharakah is terminated when one of the partners loses the insanity or disabled to manage the business. Fourthly, upon request of one of the partners or by mutual agreement of the parties are also the reason for the resolution of Musharakah. Every partner has the right to end the contract at any moment by noticing the other partners to that effect. If one of the partners want to end the Musharakah but the other partner or partners desire to keep the business going, this can be accomplished by mutual consent. Because the termination of Musharakah with one partner does not imply its termination with the other partners, the partners who wish to operate the business may acquire the share of the partner who want to end his participation. In this case, the share price of the partners who decide to leave the partnership must be determined by mutual consent, and if there is a disagreement over the shares valuation and partners cannot agree on a price, then the partners who decide to leave the Musharakah may compel the other partners to liquidate or distribute the asset themselves. Lastly, the bankruptcy of the partners also lead to the termination of Musharakah. Musharakah and Mudarabah can be compared in terms of 7 items. Firstly, in Musharakah, all partners contribute the capital in accordance with the ratio agreed. Meanwhile, in Mudarabah, only Rabbul Mal contribute the capital. Next, assets are jointly owned by all partners according to capital contribution ratio in Musharakah. Meanwhile, assets are owned by Rabbul Mal only in Mudarabah. In terms of participation in the management of the business, all partners in Musharakah are allowed to participate. Meanwhile, only Mudarib has the right to participate in the business management. Next, in Musharakah, the partner's liability is usually unlimited. Meanwhile, in Mudarabah, Rabbul Mal liability is only limited to the proportion of the capital investment. In terms of loss sharing, all partners in Musharakah are entitled to share the loss among themselves. In contrast, in Mudarabah, only Rabbul Mal is responsible to bear the loss and financial risk. Next, profit distribution can be distributed on any interval by valuation of the asset in Musharakah, but profit sharing ratio is taking place after liquidation of the business in Mudarabah. Lastly, cash and any property with monetary worth can be utilized as capital for Musharakah. Meanwhile, capital should be in the form of money or cash in Mudarabah.
Generally, Musharakah contract is a cooperating agreement between two or more parties. In Islam, Musharakah is essential because in fulfilling the necessities of life, individuals cannot always work independently. The development of the Musharakah concept in recent times has become increasingly complex and widespread, and it is used in various forms of transaction. This Musharakah concept arose naturally from the community's desire for higher returns, increased competitiveness, and lower risk as a result of the community's limited ability to give capital. Furthermore, this necessity may be seen in the growth of contractual agreements established in numerous industries using Musharakah contract system, such as banking for both ordinary bank and Islamic banking, agriculture, and commerce.